sort of said earlier, my name is Todd, and I'm the program manager for the accounting program. And my role as program manager really is to kind of oversee all aspects of the program. It's almost like running a small business. So everything from budgeting to sort of some marketing and retention, customer service, worrying about curriculum. I sometimes say the most important thing that I do is making sure that you as a student have a successful experience. So as you go through the program, if you decide to join us, you need anything that doesn't sort of seem right, or you have questions about something from an instructor perspective, that's where I can be most helpful. I do not teach any of the courses, so I should just put that out now, that if you have specific questions throughout the session and you, when you post them to the discussion board, if I can't answer them, I'll get the answer later and get back to you on that. But I can answer most questions. So just a quick little agenda that we have today. I'll talk a little bit about the university. If you're not familiar with York, I'll just talk about the accounting certificates. We'll talk about the in-person and the online. I know a lot of people are probably thinking about the CPA designation. Maybe you'll end up doing that, maybe you won't, but I'll sort of walk you through the process. We'll talk about the application process, and then I'll take you to the website just to show you what that looks like if you have not been there yet. And then at the end, I'll take questions. So if you have questions throughout the session, just post them. I probably won't get a chance to get to them until the very end of the session, but if I peek over and see something that's relevant to what we're talking about, then I'll for sure try and answer it right in the moment. I am recording this session, so if you have to jump off for any reason, I totally get it. People have busy lives and schedules, so we'll send this out probably the next week or so that if you have maybe a manager that wants to learn more about the program because maybe they're supporting you, whatever the case, just we'll send it out to you, like I said, sometime the next week. So very, very quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but a quick little glance at York if you're not familiar with who we are. We are located in Toronto, North Toronto, and we're the second largest university in Ontario and the third in all of Canada. It's a very prestigious university. We have the best business school in Canada. We have lots of international students. We have over 50,000 students overall between degree studies and grad studies. Students from over 12,000 countries, 12,000 students from 178 countries. So a very diverse university. We're very proud of it, and that's a little bit of who we are. So before we get started, I want to do a couple of quick poll questions just to get to know you guys a bit better, so as I go through the session, I can be more detailed in my responses. So let me just go through these. The first thing I'm just curious to know is if you're an international student or a domestic student. So just a quick little yes or no would be helpful. Give people another second or two to respond. We're waiting for one or two more, but they seem to not be there, so we'll move on. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oops, sorry. Looks like I hit the wrong button there. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let me get back to that. Okay. Okay, so as you can see from the responses, most people are international students. There are a couple of domestic students, which is great. Our program has a lot of international students, but certainly there's domestic, which kind of adds to the learning experience. So international students get to learn from domestic students, and domestic students get to learn from what life is like and what accounting is like in other parts of the world. Okay, great. Sorry, my computer's being a little funny here. Okay, the next question. Just wondering what format people are interested in. Are people looking to do the online format, which is like the part-time format, or are they thinking about the full-time version? Just keep another second or so for people to respond. Great. Okay. So from this question, you can see that most people are thinking about the full-time offering, which is fine. That's obviously our largest program, so we'll talk a lot about that. And there's a couple people who are looking for the online, so I'll certainly share what that's all about. Okay, next question, go quickly. Just wondering if people had a background in accounting. It's just a yes/no question. Another second or so. Okay, perfect. So you can see from this question, a lot of students have some background or experience in accounting. I suspect most of those students who have experience are the international students. A lot of them will actually come to our program with having some coursework in accounting. So them coming to Canada gives them some credential in Canada, allows them to, in some cases, find work more easily, sort of part-time if that's the case, to complement their studies. So not surprising that that's the answer. Okay, great. Last question I've got is just wondered when people are thinking of starting the program. Are they looking to start in September of 2019 or in January of 2020? Just keep a second or so for people to respond to that. Okay, and we'll close it. Perfect. Okay, so you can see that everybody is thinking about starting the program in September, which is fine. So I'll definitely talk about that because that's important. Okay, great. Oh, sorry, let me close that. Okay, so let me just go through this sort of information, and then we'll get to some of your questions. So at this point, who are our students? So from your answers from those little poll questions, we know there's a lot of international students, there's some domestic students. Everybody has to have a degree or a 3-year college diploma to be enrolled in the program. So certainly everybody's at that level. People are not coming out of high school with no experience. So that really enhances the classroom experience quite a bit because people have an understanding of the expectations of being in a university setting. People have an understanding of the quality of work that's required, hopefully about managing their time. And also, in this case, they've got some experience in accounting. There are some students who have sort of limited or no accounting experience, which is fine too. This program is geared for people who don't have any experience, so the fact that some do is fine. They'll certainly be able to add more to the classroom discussions, which I think helps everybody. But if you don't have any, don't be concerned or feel overwhelmed because the program is geared for people who don't. So we'll start at the beginning and get you up to speed quite quickly. And there's obviously people who are new to the field. There are career changers. There are people upgrading their knowledge. People trying to get their CPA designation. There are people who are trying to become Canadian residents. This is a nice way for them to come to Canada, get a Canadian credential, get some work experience, and then they can hopefully make Canada their home. So a little quickly on why you should choose York. So I'll go into this a little more detail in a bit, but we do offer 2 programs. There's the online offering and the full-time offering. So because of the multiple formats, it does allow people to kind of choose the one that best works for them if they're balanced in life and family, or if they're coming in from another country. They need to be in a full-time program. But having that just gives people a little more flexibility to choose the program that's best for them. Our programs are pretty condensed. They're very fast and furious. So there's a lot of information that comes to you very quickly. And that's a really good thing because it gets you to finish the program more quickly. Obviously, it also means you got to be really attuned to your time management skills. And, if you need help with something, you have to ask the question. If you say, I don't understand this, because you'll get lost if you don't. But it really does help you validate your skills and get to your goal, which is hopefully a job in accounting sooner than most other programs. Our program is recognized by CPA. They've reviewed all of our courses. So if that's your goal to get your CPA designation, then doing this program will meet all those core and non-core requirements for CPA. And the other thing about our program, which is a little bit unique, is it's a cohort-based program. So if you're not familiar with that, what it really means is students will, as a group, take the first course together, the second course, the third course, the fourth course, all the way through the entire program, which allows you to build some great support network, study groups, social friendships, and things like that, because obviously that's important on top of just being in your classes, and even like network. So you may learn that people are working in certain fields, or their family knows people in certain areas, and maybe there's a job posting, and they can sort of get in touch with somebody that might be able to sort of speed track your resume and stuff. So lots of good reasons to have that cohort. It really does build a nice relationship with the students because you're really together for that 8-month period. I won't go into too much detail on the courses. Hopefully you're sort of looked at our website, but here are the courses in the accounting certificate. So there's 2 programs that we offer. One is the accounting certificate, and one is the advanced accounting certificate. So the first one, we'll call it the accounting certificate, or sometimes we call it the foundation program. There are 8 courses. So there's the fundamentals of financial accounting, introduction to managerial accounting, economics, stats, legal principles in business, corporate finance, and then 2 additional courses in professional competencies in business, which actually recently changed its name to business communication. So I should, sorry about that, I didn't change my slide there. And there's a capstone course. So the reason that those first 6 courses are in black is because those courses map to the CPA designation. The other 2 courses, the professional competency course, or it's actually now the business communication course, and the capstone are not part of the CPA. But those are equally as important, if not more important, especially the business communication course or the professional competency course. Because you'll find soon enough that students, there are a lot of students who take accounting, a lot of students trying to get their CPA designation. So you have to sort of imagine that most companies will sort of know that everyone has a base knowledge of accounting. What really makes people successful are the soft skills, or the sort of cross-functional skills, teamwork, critical thinking, communication skills, problem solving. Those are the kinds of things that you'll need to be successful in a job and be successful in Canada. So those courses really focus on those areas. So it's not so much specific to accounting, but it's the other things you'll need to be successful. I've highlighted these 4 courses because if you're interested in doing the advanced certificate in accounting, either now or later, these are the 4 prerequisites. So if you do our program, obviously you've met those requirements. If you're looking to sort of start directly in the advanced certificate, then you'll need at least these 4 courses to be accepted. And here's the advanced accounting program. You can see these are much more intense accounting courses. These are what CPA calls the core courses. So intermediate financial accounting 1 and 2, advanced financial accounting, intermediate and advanced managerial accounting, taxation, accounting information systems, auditing, strategy management and governance, which is like a business strategy course. And then this one also has a capstone class. So again, very focused, very intense in accounting, where the other one sort of prepares you for this, right? And a lot of students will sort of start with the foundation program, and then they'll advance to this program, which is we call the Advanced Accounting Certificate. We do accept transfer credits, so if that's something you should check out our website. There are specific requirements and deadlines of when we'll accept those transfers, so please review the website. If you have taken previous courses in your home country, and they're about 80 or 90% similar to the courses we offer, we will accept those courses as transfers, so you don't need to repeat them, and you can get a bit of a refund on the tuition. So I wanted to just share an example of the in-person schedule. So you can see from this slide here that the program meets 4 days a week, so Monday through Thursday, no class on Friday. And you'll see that you'll be in the fundamentals of accounting class, as an example, on Monday and Wednesday, and the economics course on Tuesday and Thursday. You'll notice the time is 8:30 to 11:30, and the room is ABC. The room and the time never change for the entire program. So once you're in a time slot, that's the duration, the time and the place you'll be for the duration of the program, and you can plan your schedule accordingly for other work opportunities, just life, whatever the case may be. You're in those courses twice a week for 3 hours at a time for 6.5 weeks. So almost think about it as sort of blocks. So if you think about course 1 and 2 is offered together, like course 1 would be on Monday, Wednesday, and course 2 would be on Tuesday, Thursday, and then down the sort of list to finish all the programs. So it's a little more accelerated, like I said earlier. It's really intense because you learn content on Monday, and then Wednesday you're learning new content for the same course, and in between that there's economics in this case. So just be aware that's what the sort of schedule will look like if it's doing it in person. For the fall, we do have multiple time slots. I think there's 3 or 4 different time slots that we'll have. So 8:30 to 11:30, 12:15 to 3:15, 3:30 to 6:30, and 6:45 to 9:45. So we have some of those limitations around the size of the room, but there are 4 different time slots. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense. Questions about it, just post it and I'll get to that at the end. Let me see if anybody has any questions while I'm going. Okay, good. So now what you'll see online is the online schedule, because there were some people who were thinking about the online program. So again, same courses. The big difference here is you're doing each course one at a time. So you may remember from the in-person version, they're doing 2 courses at the same time. For the online, it's 1 course. So again, same amount of sort of maybe time you spend each week learning the content, participating in the course, but you can see it's just broken up very differently because you're doing a little bit on Sunday, a little bit on Monday, a little bit on Tuesday, take Thursday off, more on Friday. So when you do that work is really up to you. The online program is what we call asynchronous, which means it's not live. So you won't need to be online on a Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. You can really sort of balance life and work and all those good things around the course to allow you to balance life and work and be successful in the class. Okay. So I'll quickly just go through this just to sort of compare the in-person to the online. So in both cases, the course is facilitated by an instructor. So the online course is not self-directed. You're not just doing it on your own. There's an instructor who's doing it with you the entire day. They're always online in the course shell, helping you facilitate your learning. In terms of the online and the in-person, there's maybe a little more effort sort of in terms of the time you spend in class and the additional time you have outside of class to prepare and do your homework and prepare for exams than the online. And that's really more for because you're doing 2 classes at the same time. For the online, you should definitely expect about 8 to 10 hours of effort per week for each course. So again, you need to just sort of make sure that fits within your schedule. As I said, in-person is 2 classes at a time. Online is 1 course at a time. 8 months to complete the in-person, 1.5 years to complete the online. Again, mostly because it's 1 course at a time. Both programs have assignments and activities and homework. Again, because of the format, they'll be slightly different. They're not exactly the same assignments and things, but they do have them. You'll get letter grades. The in-person courses are larger typically, just because in-person is more popular. Just from even the poll we did today, most students are interested in the in-person. And as I said, the in-person meets the same time each week, and the online is asynchronous, which is not live. So in terms of the actual application process, so for the full-time offering, which is the face-to-face, you need a university degree or a 3-year college diploma. We do have an IELTS requirement if you're an international student. It has to be a minimum of 6.0, and I think it's a minimum of 5.0, 5.5 in speaking and writing. So again, those 2 components have to be a minimum number. If you're thinking about doing the full-time program in the advanced accounting, as I mentioned earlier, there are those 4 prerequisites in fundamentals of financial accounting, intro to managerial accounting, economics, and statistics. If you're doing the first accounting certificate or the foundation program, we sometimes call it, I should just warn you, it's a very competitive application process. So starting next week, we're going to be reviewing applications, and we're going to start sending out offer letters the 1st or 2nd week of March. So if you have not yet applied, and everybody said they were looking to do the fall or the September start, you probably need to have your application in by tomorrow. So I know that's very last minute. We've had several of these webinars, but that's just the reality. We've had hundreds and hundreds of applications for about 160 or 170 spots for the foundation program. The advanced one's a little less sort of competitive, just because of the nature, it's a little more higher level. But for the foundation one, for sure, it's very competitive. Like I said, we probably have 600 or 700 applications for about 150 spots. So we look at GPA and IELTS scores and a whole variety of things to make sure we have the best group of students to be successful in the program. If you're doing the online program, the foundation program does not have an application. It's just direct entry, so no sweat there. And if you're doing the advanced program, there is an application just so we can confirm that you have those prereqs that I've mentioned earlier. Okay. Let me just take a pause for a second and just look at some of these questions to see if people have anything that I can sort of quickly answer. Sorry, just give me a sec while I open the question box. Okay, good. So no burning questions at the moment. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is the CPA requirements. So I assume most people are looking to do their CPA. At the end of the day, they may or not end up with it, but sometimes that's at least their initial goal. So to do your CPA, there are several components. And the first component is doing that first program, the postgraduate certificate in accounting through us. Okay, oh, sorry, let's see. The next component is doing that advanced certificate. And as I said, that's where you kind of you fulfill the educational requirements for CPA. Then you've got something called CPA PEP and the common exam. So CPA offers courses called PEP courses where you start to specialize in tax and auditing and managerial accounting, whatever your sort of area of interest is. And you need to have a certain number of work experience. And once you've done all those things, then you can actually sit for your CPA common exam. And then once you write that, then you're a CPA, which is, and that's where the balloons come in and people sort of have parties for you and that good stuff. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. It is a pretty lengthy process. So our program, if you do both of them, takes 2 years. You're talking about another 2 years or so for the CPA, or even longer for the CPA component and the work experience component. They have a whole mentorship component. So it's a pretty big undertaking, but if you get to the end, it's really one of the better sort of designations you can have in Canada in terms of you can work in accounting, in business, because people who understand accounting and finance usually sort of have a very, very senior level job. Okay, I'm gonna jump to the website for a sec, but let me just, there's just a question that popped up, so let me look. Okay, so somebody's asking about if they can enroll in our diploma in professional accounting. Let me go back to the screen, hold on a sec. So, okay. So the question is, can I enroll in York's graduate diploma in professional accounting after completing both of our certificates? So unfortunately, the answer to that is no. And the reason that the answer is no is because the graduate diploma requires you to be a York degree student. I don't know why they sort of have that sort of stipulation, but they do, unfortunately. So that means that you wouldn't be able to sort of do the PEP courses because the diploma kind of connects to the PEP modules through York, which is unfortunate, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. So sorry about that, but yeah, there's not more I could say. So that's the answer. Okay, let me get through the rest of this, Digori, and then I'll answer your question. So let me just go back and do a couple more quick things. Okay, so our website. I assume most people have sort of been here already at some point. I'll just click on the postgraduate certificate in accounting, which is the first one, the foundation. Okay, so if you go into this program, if you sort of scroll down, you can sort of see there's lots of information about the program. There's lots of information. There's that chart I showed you about CPA, which you can look at. There's more information about CPA. But at the very, very bottom, you'll notice that there's some little buttons. So there's the courses. So again, I didn't sort of give you specific details on the courses, but there's actually the courses. There's a course description, which will just sort of help you learn a little more about what those courses are about. There's information on being a domestic student, on an international student. So if you're an international student, it gives us more information that might be beneficial for you. Okay. So then if you go very way back to the very, very top of this, sorry if I'm getting you dizzy by me scrolling there, you'll see that there's 3 tabs. There's some program policies, which you should definitely look at, which has some transfer credit stuff and payments and all sorts of good stuff. It has all the specific requirements for admission. But I want to show you the enrollment button. I think that's important. So you can see here, we have the fall program up. You can see that there's a different fee for domestic and international students. And if you click on the course itself, they're both sort of the same in terms of the information. But you'll see the dates and stuff and the specific times that the course meets. So there's no time slots of being 8:30 and 12:15 and 3:15, but at least you know when the program starts in terms of blocking off time and when holidays come. And if you have to travel and do other things, you'll sort of know and you can plan accordingly. Okay. So again, if you want to apply the program, and as I said, for the fall term, it's very, very competitive. If you're going to do that, I suspect you should do that today or tomorrow, the latest, because after that, once we start reviewing applications, I assume we'll meet our goals very shortly. So if you want to apply, literally just hit the apply button, add the sort of course to your, sort of application to your cart. There is a $79 fee, which you then would pay, and then you can sort of continue with the application process. Okay. So I think that's about enough on that. Let's go back to this page. So that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you today about the program. Again, sort of logistical. If you have specific questions about content, I'm happy to sort of answer it. While I'm sort of answering the questions, I'll leave this screen up here, which has information about our program advisor. Her name is Elsbeth, and she can certainly answer all of your questions in terms of you know, anything that leads up to the program beginning, about careers or courses, that kind of stuff. And then Allison, who's our registration coordinator, can sort of answer questions about your application, about payments, about those kinds of things. If you're currently in Canada, you want to come to the office, we can certainly sort of set up a time to chat with you in person. You can also call the office, you can email us, all that stuff is on this slide, and I'll just leave it up as I go through all the questions. So, perfect. Let me just make my question box bigger so I can see it. Okay. Thanks for the questions, guys. Keep posting them, and I will go through them and answer the questions one by one. Okay, so somebody's asking, so they're in their 30s, they have a 4-year degree in economics and management, specialization in finance, 13 years of experience working. They have some TOEFL scores. Okay, so to summarize the question is, should they start with the foundation program or the advanced program? It really goes back to the courses, so and what your goal is. So if your goal is to sort of get your CPA, the fastest way to do it is to have CPA review the course you took, you know, when you were in school, and for them to review them and say that, yeah, they're equivalent to the foundation courses that we offer. So yes, you can jump right to the advanced program. If you've taken Intro to Financial Accounting, Intro to Managerial Accounting, Statistics, and Economics, that's all you really need to get into the advanced program. So if you've all that background, I think it'd be more appropriate in the advanced program, but again, it's really up to you to figure out what your career goals are, and do you need the sort of Canadian law class? Do you need, you know, the stats class, the econ class, you know, the corporate finance class? Because if you do, then, you know, you might want to apply the foundation program, but then you can get some transfer credits, which again will shorten the duration of that program and save you some money. Okay, so somebody's asking about the textbooks. Yeah, that doesn't sort of get announced until closer to the course start date, just because the textbooks sometimes change, versions change. So we do promote, we do share that with you, but not until closer to your student in the program, and then we can share that and more information before the program begins a few weeks. Yep, so somebody's asking if this session's being recorded. It is being recorded, so if you have an opportunity, you want to watch it back later, we'll send you the link in probably about 4 or 5 days. Our marketing team does that, and they can share that with you in an email, which they'll do, and you can certainly watch it back whenever you like. Okay, so Mohammed's asking, I'm not sure I understand, what's PGWP? So sorry, maybe just sort of spell that out for me. Yeah, Mohammed, I'm not sure what the P. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I didn't really, got it. Totally get it now. Okay. Question. So students who complete 1 year of academic study in our program will get a 1-year work permit. Students who complete 2 years of full-time study with us will get a 3-year work permit. So if, as an example, you do the foundation program, you get and you finish it, you don't continue on, you get a 1-year work permit because you've got 1 year of full study, 1 academic year of studies. If you do the foundation program and you do the advanced program, that's 2 years of study, and at the end of that, you can apply for a 3-year work permit. So in this case, Mohammed, if you did both programs and got the 3-year work permit, you can actually be in Canada for 5 years studying and working. So hopefully that answers your question there. Okay, let's make sure I got the right question. So I'm not sure, Mohammed, it's probably a better question for Allison. You may want to send Allison a quick note. If she's reviewed the application, if she has things that are missing, she would be in touch with you. So I would suggest on the screen, you reach out to Allison and she can sort of best answer your question. So yeah, I'm going to say your name wrong, so I apologize. Hai Yang. No, unfortunately, you can't see the module, but we can certainly share a course outline or something if that's what you'd want. You just need to send a note to Elsbeth, and she can sort of help you with that. But we don't share that information if you're not a student in the program. Osama, I assume you're referring to the joining the advanced program. If you have not taken the stats course or the econ course, you'd have to complete those courses before the program begins. They're prereqs, and you have to finish them before the program begins. So the only challenge you're going to have is if the program fills up before that happens. So sometimes we'll do some conditional offers, but you definitely need to complete those courses before you start the advanced program. Yep, Hyung, we can certainly send you a course syllabus, so that question can be sent to Elsbeth. You're welcome, Mohammed, you're welcome. Muhammad's asking about so what'll happen is we'll start to view the applications next week, which is in March, and at that point we'll send out offer letters. Depending on who accepts those offer letters, if we have to sort of send out a second batch of offers, we will, until we get to the number of students in our program. Yeah, it is possible, Sama, to do that if that's what you're asking, for sure. No, so if you were a student in the advanced program and you need to take, say, stats or econ, the full-time programs are full, so that's not an option. Maybe in the online versions we can get students into those courses as one-off, but you have to be a student in our program first because it's cohort-based. So we don't allow students to sort of do one-off courses. So it might be better to sort of find those courses elsewhere. But again, that's a good question for Elsbeth, and she can sort of help with that. Yep, so I didn't talk too much about the online programs and no start dates. So the advanced programs for online, they start in September and January. And that's the case for both of the in-person as well. So there's a September intake and there's a January intake for both in-person and online for foundation and the advanced one. So that's basically how that works. So Youssef, so it is a competitive process. We do select students based on who we feel is best qualified for the program. So that may be based on their GPA, that may be based on IELTS scores, that may be based on other factors as well. So we look at the entire application to choose the students in the program. It's not a first come, first serve. It is a competitive application process. So you want to definitely put your best foot forward for sure. Yeah. Good question. Thanks. Hey, these are great questions, guys. Keep them coming. I'm happy to stay as long as people need. It's 12:37 now, so but I'm happy to stay on. If you have more questions, please ask. If you have to leave the webinar, please just know that I truly appreciate you joining us today. Thanks for taking the time. I know people have busy lives and schedules, and if you're out of country, maybe a different time, maybe it's the middle of the night or it's after hours. But anyway, I do appreciate you being here. I hope you learned something about our program that you may consider enrolling, or in this case, applying to the program. And I can't stress enough, if you want to enroll for September, you've got to get that stuff to us ASAP, because once we start to issue offers, because we have so many applications already, it's going to be hard to sort of look at ones that come in late. Thanks, Aiden, from Ottawa. Sweet. You probably understand the cold and the snowy weather, but we're having a good storm today, so I'm sure you can appreciate me working from home. Okay, if there are no more questions, then I will, I guess, sign off. But again, if something pops up, I'll sit here for another second or two. But otherwise, thanks again. Enjoy your day. Hopefully you're not involved with a snowstorm like us, and you're somewhere nice and warm. All right, guys, thanks very much. Have a good day, and appreciate your time. Ciao.